It's been a long time coming, but finally I'm back with another FinTech episode, sponsored in collaboration with FinTech Finance, the leading news platform for financial technology. And today they've tasked me with trying to explain to you what trees have in common with a bank called Bunk. Welcome back to another episode of Stu's Reviews. For those of you that are new to the channel and maybe have only been subscribed for a few months, you may not know that I occasionally do financial technology reviews, usually around one every 2 months, but financial technology or fintech is my kink. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that you've got these awesome companies and awesome services out there that are bringing money management and everything to do with finance into the future and giving us as consumers much more control over our money. I absolutely love it. And today we're taking a look at Bunk. But before I tell you exactly what Bunk has to do with trees, let me tell you about the company. Bunk is a neobank headquartered in Amsterdam and set up in 2015 by Ali Nicknam. It focuses on offering a comprehensive money management solution in a number of card offerings with a ton of those new Challenger Bank benefits we've become accustomed to. Zero foreign exchange fees while spending abroad, bill splitting, spending notifications, and just generally quicker and greater control of your money. But that's not what makes Bunk special, because every neobank currently does that. It's what it does on top of those features that's special. There's tons of comprehensive things that Bunk can do, but controversially, I want to start by telling you what it can't do. Now, this mainly applies to people in the UK. There are two things that you can't necessarily do, or you might need to consider before using Bunk. The first thing is that you can only view your balance in euros. Now, that's obvious why, because it's a Euro bank at the moment, and I guess the main functionality of Bunk is as a travel card for use in Europe, so that makes complete sense. But if you wanted to use that balance at home, which you can do, you wanted to use it in pounds, it means you have to do a quick piece of maths in your head to work out how many pounds you have when corresponding across from the euros in your Bunk account. So it's not a massive issue, but it is just something there you might need to consider. Because it's a Euro bank, you've got to also consider that you haven't got access to an account number or a sort code for British banking things. So, for example, you can't receive your employment income directly into it because you haven't got those details. And other things like direct debits as well, sometimes they need those details. Now, there are workarounds for a certain number of things, because fortunately, Bunk have partnered with another fintech called TransferWise, which I know some of you probably use, but TransferWise allows you basically to send and receive in around, I think it's 50 different currencies around the world. But what it can do as well is allow you to basically set up a bank account detail for each of these currencies. You can then set up a US account and you'll have US details to send and receive money from, which is awesome. But again, you can't use this in every single instance for UK banking, so it's just a consideration. But now that's aside, let's talk about what it can do, because what it does do is exceptional. Bunk offer 3 different types of account, and the first one I've touched on slightly already, and that's their travel account. And the travel account is that funky rainbow coloured card you saw at the beginning. Now, this is free to set up and dead easy to do so, but you set it up in the app, and then all you do is top up using a debit card, and it will transfer your money from your local currency into euros so that you can spend abroad. Simply. Now, I really like this. I like seeing my money on a card in the local currency, because it means that when you're paying for things, it's got a value that associates to what you're actually spending. In the past, I've used cards that have pounds as the currency in it, and then I've got a bill from a supermarket for 30 euros. Now, you look at these two, you think, okay, 30 euros, I've got £100 in my account. How much does that actually equate to? Because it doesn't sort of transpose. You don't know actually how much of this 30 euro is going to be taken up in here. I mean, I don't know the conversion rate off the top of my head, and I don't know if you will either. But the idea that I can have a card that has euros on it already and pay for a bill that is in euros, it makes it much easier to understand, because that 30 euros against 100 euros, well, I'm nearly using a third of my budget on that one bill. But that is, to me, an awesome way of doing things. So if you are looking at travelling, the Bunk travel account is actually a really good way to go. Next is their premium account. Now the premium account is interesting because it gives you access to something called freedom of choice, and this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. Now it may come as a revelation to some of you, but banks don't just let your money sit in a bank account with the moths and the pigeons. I mean, you will always see the ones and zeros and, well, for me, the minus zeros. They take your money and they reinvest it in different things. They'll use it for personal lending, they'll use it for investments, and they'll do all sorts of things to try and make that money grow so that they have a profit to take home. Now, yes, that doesn't mean they actually take your money and you lose it. It just means that digitally they can still give you your money back, but they have access to that money to grow and invest and do whatever they want with. Now, you might not agree with all of the things that banks offer. For example, maybe I morally don't like personal lending. I don't want my money to be used to be lending to people. Well, in a normal bank, you haven't got a choice. They take your money and that's it. They can do whatever nefarious things they want. With Bunk, you have a freedom of choice, which I think is incredible. Now, what does this mean? Well, it is so simple in the fact that you go into the app. It shows you exactly the type of areas that Bunk can use your money or invest your money or use the money to make money for itself, and you can decide to turn off certain things. So if, for example, I only wanted Bunk to invest in green companies so that it can make profit, then I'll do that. I'll turn off everything else so that it can only do that, which is absolutely incredible. This type of control I have never seen before. Every single bank does this, but Bunk is the only one, as far as I'm aware, that gives you the option to actually change what Bunk does with it. Again, this might be coming as a revelation to some of you, but this is where the FSCS scheme in the UK comes to play, because that guarantees your money for up to £80,000 in your account. So basically, if the bank has invested all your money and they go bust, you can get your money back through the FSCS scheme up to £80,000. Now, Bunk not being a UK bank, it hasn't got the FSCS protection, but it does have the Dutch deposit guarantee, which is something very, very similar and guarantees your money up to €100,000. So if Bunk ever did go bust or they cease trading, which is highly unlikely, but if they did, you're still guaranteed up to €100,000, which is that more than the FSCS? Hold on a minute. That is actually more in current foreign exchange than the FSCS protection. That gives you, in UK money, £90,000 of protection. That's awesome. That's really good. The last service they offer now is called Super Green, and this is what trees have in common with Bunk, and this is the reason why Bunk is on the channel today, because you all know that I'm a massive fan of protecting the environment at all costs. What can I say? I'm not an eco-warrior, but I try and do my bit in my corner to save the environment through warning companies not to use plastic and doing things such as planting trees. And you might remember last year that the Stews Reviews community, we all pulled together and we managed to plant 50 trees for Team Trees, which, again, massive thanks for that, and a round of applause for everyone who contributed to that. That was incredible. But I love the environment, I love protecting the environment. Well, the Super Green plan, every €100 you spend, Bunk plants a tree. How good is that? That is literally incredible, because I can just go around doing exactly what I normally do, paying for things and beer and drinking and whiskey, lots of whiskey, and by doing that, I'm planting trees. I can literally drink whiskey and plant trees at the same time. Of course, I have to buy the whiskey first, but I can buy the whiskey and plant trees. I just love that. Honestly, I'm speechless when it comes to that, because that's incredible. In the app, it shows you a lovely little forest animation, how many trees you've planted all together. And as well, actually, you can group together with friends into what's called tribes, and you can sort of pool yourselves together. That way, you can compete with other tribes. You could have a group of mates competing against other mates, and the more you spend, the more you plant, which is ace. It encourages you to spend money, which isn't necessarily... I mean, they're not encouraging you to spend money, are they? No, they're not encouraging you to spend money, because you're literally just planting by spending what you'd normally spend. Yes, I love it. I absolutely love that. Oh, and they also give you a metal card to be super, super green as well, rather than giving you a plastic one that essentially is littering at the end of its life. With the metal one, it's heavier, nicer, and what can I say? I'm a sucker for metal cards because they feel premium. And I know I shouldn't be drawn in like a moth to a flame, but I do love metal cards. And they are eco-friendly. Absolutely love it. It seems like Bunk cares at nearly every single angle because it's not just the environment that Bunk supports. They also do something called causes, which essentially in the app you can set up causes and you can view other users' causes and donate to them or ask for donations yourself for that cause. And I think that's awesome because you're allowing crowdfunding donations through your banking app, which is incredible. This attitude to caring for the environment and caring for the communities, I believe, isn't just situated in the services that Bunk offer. I believe it is deep-seated in the whole ethos of the company. So when you combine all this caring for the communities, caring for people, caring for the environment, caring for the users that actually use Bunk, you pair that with all of the modern features that we've come to love about challenger banks and modern fintechs, such as instant spending, payment notifications, multiple account management, all at your fingertips. It makes Bunk a bank that we should absolutely be keeping our eyes on. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check out Bunk for yourselves, but I hope you've enjoyed today's review. If you're already a member of Bunk Super Green, I want to know how many trees you've planted so far. I'd be interested, so let me know in the comments below. And if you do sign up, let me know how many trees you plant in the next couple of months. Again, I'd be quite interested to see. But other than that, guys, if you liked today's episode, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you back for another episode of Stu's Reviews soon.